And hello, this is Miami CO, Indiana. Today we're going to do a test against two heaters, both at 1500 watt rating. There they both are there. The lower one that's running right now is the EdenPure Generation 3 heater. This is the 4th year I have used this heater in my house. Same bulbs and everything. And it heats the entire home, which is just amazing. A lot of people say all 1500 watt heaters do the same thing, so we're going to do a test today and see how true that is. Anyhow, as you can see, it's on 8 lights down there. If you see the lights lit up, if you count those are 8. And that's where I keep my EdenPure set. I turn it on in October, it goes all the way through April, cycling on and off and keeping the house at a constant 70-71 degrees, sometimes 72, depends what it is outside, but between 70 and 72 degrees consistently on the temperature inside. So we're going to verify that right now. We're going to also verify outdoor temperatures. I picked a day that's not so brutal outside. It's in the 20s today. This is in my living room right around the corner. You can see the heat setting 71 degrees, but I'm going to tell you that it is set on heat, but I'm going to show you here that the heat is set at 64 degrees. That's only a safety in case the EdenPure would go off. The house won't drop below 64 degrees. The heat literally does not come on. The furnace does not come on when I'm using my EdenPure, which I use all winter long. Saying all that, I will tell you this has been a brutal, brutal winter. When it did get 15 below zero, that's actual air temperature, the EdenPure did run full blast and was able to keep the temperature only about 68 degrees in my home. But other than that, it stays 70 to 72 at all times. I don't touch anything. Here's what I heat. Living room, yeah, with a cat included. Dining room where the heater is, so it's in the center part of the house. There's the other heater we're going to be using today, the box. I just got that. The kitchen, back in that area, which we'll go to in just a second. I have the heater pointed in this hallway, so it deflects off this wall, goes into this bedroom, bathroom, and office area in there. About 850 square feet is the size of my house, so I have a very small house. So I'm able to heat with one infrared heater. So what we're going to do here on the test, first of all, we're going to verify what the outdoor temperature is and the indoor temperature is. Again, we saw that here. That's the indoor temperature, 71. Again, the heat's set at 64, so the furnace does not come on. I also have another digital thermometer in the kitchen, which is one room over. And as you can see, 70.8, so all sakes, almost 71 degrees in here as well. Outdoor temperature right there, 21.9. So I wanted to pick a day that was cloudy so there's no solar heat coming in, and the temperatures are pretty moderate in the mid-20s. So what we're going to do is this simple. We're going to stop heating with the EdenPure heater, and we're going to start heating with the Pelonis 1500 watt heater. So here's the heater I bought. As you can see, fan force, there's the safety features, controls, etc. And to verify through the manual that it is on one setting 600 watts, 2 900, 3 1500 watts. We are going to set this at the full blast, 3 setting 1500 watts fan forced heat. Before I do this, I will tell you that these are plugged into the same outlet. You never want to run more than one appliance in the same outlet. I'm only going to be running one at a time so I can do it safely. So what we're going to do right now is switch heaters, but first we need to verify the time. So let's go ahead and do that. Sorry for all the movement here. And the time is 3:15 in the afternoon. So that's when we're going to switch, 3:15 in the afternoon. And all we're going to do is switch from one heat source to the other and see if there's any change in the temperature, and if so, how much and how length of time. First thing I'm going to do is turn this one off. It does have a remote, but I'm just going to do it manually here. hit the power button. When I do that, this will still run the fan to expel all the heat coming out. So it's safe to turn this one on now because the other one's not using any high energy. We're going to put this on the max. And to let you know, a thermostat does not control the air temperature. All that does is control off and on. So we're going to make sure the unit stays on at all times. And we're going to switch it. Fan, heat 1, heat 2, heat number 3. 1500 watts, fan forced. I do feel the heat coming out of it. It's a brand new heater, and it's operating correctly. And we're just going to verify if there's any change in our temperature here. Again, 71 degrees. And our temperature in here, which is at 70.5 degrees. Okay, so we're going to make the switch here. The switch is on. And we'll come back. 3:15 was the time, and I'll come back through the magic of video, and we'll see if there's any changes. I'm going to be sitting in the chair right next to this to make sure that heater does not go off. So we'll be back in just a few here. And here we are back. Time elapsed is about an hour and 22 minutes. At 3:15 is when we started this test. It's now 4:37. And these results are even more dramatic than I even thought, because my house is well insulated. I thought it would hold the heat a little better. Still see we're in the low 20s outside, so the temperature outside really hasn't changed. But look at the top there. Our indoor temperature that was at 70.5 at the beginning of this test is now down to 65.8. That's a pretty big drop in just an hour and 20 minutes. We see in here this heater has been on the entire time, and it's been on the highest setting. You see there number 3. You can focus there. 1500 watts. And yes, I still feel heat blowing out. What we did in this test again is just switch from the bottom heater, which is the infrared EdenPure heater, to the fan heater on top. I wanted the heat coming out of the same area for this test. Both rated at 1500 watts, both rated at 5200 BTUs of power, of heating power. That's British thermal units. Let's look in the living room here. We were at 71 in here. As you can see, in an hour and 20 minutes. Again, the heat set at 64. That's where it's set. It hadn't came on yet, but it's getting close. It has dropped to 65 degrees in the living room. That's the room right around the corner. Which is a 6-degree temperature drop in just an hour and 20 minutes. So anyhow, I think this goes to say not all heaters are treated the same. And if you even notice on the box here, this heater is intended for a small room. And I guarantee you, if you put this heater in a small room and close the door, it'll be satisfactory. But for heating a whole house, I think we can prove that that's not going to happen. I'm sure the temperature is going to continue dropping. One thing I can tell you, what I do notice is happening here with this heater, the heat comes out of the unit and is going straight up here to the ceiling. I can just feel, right here, I can feel the heat traveling right up to the ceiling. Where on the EdenPure, when I run it, I'll give you a view from where it's pointed. It's pointed there in the hallway. And when I stand, I'm going to walk over here to the hallway here. When I stand here against this wall and have the EdenPure on, I just feel a blast of heat coming in here. I absolutely feel no heat with this heater. I don't feel anything. I don't even feel a cool breeze. I feel absolutely nothing. You just have to remember, when you're pooling heat at a ceiling is porous, and that heat's going to go right through the ceiling. Even if you have insulation, it's going to go out. So I can tell you that the heater on top there, the fan heater, it'll work in a small room with the door closed, but it's not going to work for a whole house like these infrared heaters do. So don't be fooled by what BTUs tell you. Don't be fooled by people that tell you this many watts in gives you this much heat out, end of story, because how the heat is distributed, what kind of heat you use, makes a huge difference. And I think this pretty much shows what happens when you switch heating sources from one to another. The results are dramatically different. But I don't want you to believe this test, because I want you to do it yourself. Doing it yourself is the way you can really believe it. There's no smoke and mirrors here. What you saw was exactly what happened. I switched from the EdenPure infrared heat that was keeping the house at about 70 to 71 degrees to the fan heater. All I did was turn the EdenPure off, turn the other one on. Both 1500 watt rated heaters, and the one on top within just less than an hour and a half has dropped the house temperature about 5 degrees, and it's still going down. So anyway, this is the test against a fan forced heater versus the EdenPure infrared heater, and I'm getting ready to turn my EdenPure back on and my fan heater back off and warm the house back up. This is Miami CO, Indiana. I think this is a pretty conclusive test, but I want to see your test too, and I want you to do this yourself so you can actually know what we're talking about. All of us people that rave over these infrared heaters, because no other heater I've ever used at 1500 watts can heat up to 1,000 square feet. It's the only one I've ever used that really can do that. So I want to thank you for joining me today on the test, and we'll see you next time. This is Miami CO, Indiana. So long.